psychological evaluation and said, "She's lost her mind." Rachel said, "No, she's desperate." And desperate people make spectacular mistakes. Then the trucks appeared. Into my road. Men with rifles. Standing. Watching. Not on my property. Just close enough. Jake called. His voice was tight. "Caleb, Lorraine's brother-in-law is the county sheriff." My stomach dropped. "She's telling people you're dangerous. That you're planning something." Then the call came. My son. His voice was shaking, but angry. "Dad, kids are showing me posts saying you're a terrorist. What is wrong with this woman?" I closed my eyes. "Listen to me," I said. "I need you to trust me. This will end. I promise." But inside, I wasn't so sure. That night, I was in my uncle's old workshop. Dust, oil, wood. The place still smelled like him. I was pacing, thinking, trying to see the whole board. And that's when I noticed the floor. One plank didn't sit right. I pried it up, and my crowbar hit metal. A hollow, heavy sound. My heart started pounding. Under decades of dust and grime was a steel lockbox. Military green. Old. I hauled it out. Blew the dust off. Tried the latch. Locked. I sat there staring at it. My uncle's words echoing in my head. "Land keeps secrets, kid." It took me an hour and a lot of cursing, but I got it open. And what was inside changed everything. Folders. Thick. Old. Sealed. Bank statements. Deeds. Incorporation papers. The top document read, Rourke Holdings, LLC. Incorporated 1997. Sole proprietor, Everett Rourke. My hand started shaking. I flipped pages. Maps. Plots. Deeds. My breath caught. Because every single property in Crestview, the land underneath them, belonged to him. Not the houses. The land. He bought the debt after the crash. Quietly. Cheap. Everyone thought they owned their homes. They owned the structures. He owned the ground. And now, so did I. I sat there on that dusty floor, surrounded by 40 years of secrets, and whispered, "Holy hell." Lorraine wasn't just harassing me on my land. She was stealing money on my land, threatening me on my land, trying to sell my land. And she was behind on her rent. 30 days. That's all it would take. I drove straight to Rachel's office, dropped the folder on her desk. She opened it. Read. Stilled. Looked up. "Caleb, you are the landlord of an entire neighborhood." The room felt small. I said, "So what now?" She smiled. "Now you end her. Not with fists. Not with threats. With truth. And timing. And the patience she never had. We planned. Quietly. Meanwhile, Lorraine was spiraling. Cash withdrawals. Loyalty pledges. Threatening residents. One family came to me crying. She's saying if we don't support her, she'll ruin us. Another whispered, she's hiding money. And then, the final gift. Security alert. Midnight. Motion detected. Camera lit up. And there she was. Lorraine. In my driveway. Holding a gas can. Floodlights snapped on. She froze. Like a deer. Stared right at the camera. Then screamed. And ran. I saved the footage. Backed it up. And smiled. Because the queen had just walked onto the board. And the board was mine. By the time Friday rolled around, I was running on coffee, adrenaline, and something close to disbelief. The kind you get when life gets so unreal you stop trying to make sense of it and just ride the wave. Lorraine had called an emergency community meeting at the Crestview Rec Hall. Big, bold subject line. Urgent safety concern. Said she needed to address the dangerous situation threatening our neighborhood. Me. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the email, and actually laughed. She really had no idea. Rachel came by around noon with 2 folders and that calm look she gets when everything is already in motion. "Federal agents are reviewing the financials," she said, setting one folder down. "The forged psych evaluation, the arson attempt, the false police reports, it's stacking up fast." I nodded. "And the other folder?" She slid it toward me. Inside were copies of the Rourke Holdings documents. Deeds. Maps. Rental ledgers. My uncle's quiet little empire. "You ready for this?" she asked. I thought about my son's face when he asked if I was really dangerous. Thought about the neighbors who'd crossed the street to avoid me. Thought about Lorraine standing in my driveway with a gas can like some low-budget villain. "Yeah," I said. "I'm ready." By 5:30, the parking lot at the rec hall was already packed. News vans, county cars, people standing in clusters, whispering, pointing. When I walked in, conversation stopped. Not dramatically, just that subtle hush people do when they don't know what to do with you. Lorraine was at the front, arranging papers like a politician. Perfect hair, perfect smile, black suit, power stance. She saw me, and her smile tightened. Rachel and I took seats in the back. Jake slid in beside me, leaned over, and whispered, "You sure about this?" I looked at him. Not even a little. He grinned. Good. The room filled fast. Families. Senor. Teenagers. The people who'd been paying into Lorraine's little kingdom without knowing what it really was. At 6 sharp, she tapped the microphone. "Thank you, everyone, for coming on such short notice," she said, voice warm, practiced. "As many of you are aware, we've been dealing with a very serious threat to our community." She clicked the remote. A photo of my cabin came up on the screen. Shot from the road. Crooked angle. Looked ominous. "This individual," she continued, "has repeatedly violated our standards, harassed residents, and made credible threats against families." Murmurs. Nervous shifting. "He is currently under investigation for extremist behavior," she said, solemn. "And we're doing everything in our power to protect you." I watched faces. Fear. Confusion. Doubt. Then she went for the heart. "Northridge Development has offered us a partnership," she said, voice rising. "A project that would bring jobs, security, and increase property value for every family in this room. But that opportunity is at risk because of one man." There it was. The slip. Rachel's hand tightened on my arm. Lorraine continued, "We cannot let one unstable outsider destroy what we've built." She opened the floor for comments. 3 people stood up, one by one, tearful, shaky voices, talking about feeling unsafe, about children being scared, about rumors. I didn't recognize them, but I recognized the choreography. Then Lorraine looked out and said, "Does anyone else wish to speak?" I stood. The room stilled. Lorraine's eyes widened. "Just a fraction. You're not a member of this community," she snapped. "You have no right." "Oh, I do," I said calmly, stepping into the aisle. "Actually, I probably have the most right." I walked forward, slowly, deliberately. Every step felt heavy and light at the same time. When I reached the front, I turned to face the room. "My name is Caleb Rourke," I said, "and I am the sole owner of Rourke Holdings, LLC. Blank stares. I opened the folder. These documents show that my uncle, Everett Rourke, purchased the underlying land beneath every single property in Crestview after the housing crash. Gasps. A sharp inhale from somewhere in the crowd. "You own your houses," I continued, "but the ground they sit on belongs to me." The room erupted. "What does that mean?" "That's not possible. We paid our mortgages." Lorraine lunged forward. "This is a lie. This is—" I held up the deeds. "County records. Filed. Verified. For 26 years. Rachel stepped up beside me. "Mrs. Whitmore," she said evenly, "you've been collecting bin fees on property you do not own. That's fraud." Lorraine's face drained of color. I turned to the crowd. "Every assessment you paid," I said, "every fine, every fee went into accounts controlled by Lorraine." Shouts. Anger. Confusion. Then the doors opened. 2 men in dark suits. Federal badges. The room went silent. One of them spoke. "Lorraine Whitmore, you are under arrest for wire fraud, conspiracy, forgery, and attempted arson." The sound she made, I'll never forget it. Not a scream, not a cry, a raw, animal noise. "This is a setup," she shouted. "He's lying. He's manipulating you." The agent didn't blink. "Ma'am, we have your financial records. We have your forged documents. And we have video of you attempting to ignite property not your own." Jake let out a low whistle. As they cuffed her, she twisted, looking at me with pure venom. "You don't belong here," she hissed. "You never did." I leaned in quietly, so only she could hear. "Neither did you." They let her out. The room was chaos. People shouting questions, crying, demanding answers. I raised my hands. "Listen," I said. "I know this is a shock. I know you're angry. You have every right to be." The noise eased. I could evict every person who supported this, I said. I could sell the land to Northridge tomorrow and walk away rich. Murmurs. But I'm not going to. Silence. I didn't come here to destroy your lives, I said. I came here to stop someone who was. I looked around. Met eyes. If you were lied to, you're safe. Your rent will be cut in half. And I'll offer every family here the chance to purchase your land at cost. No interest. Someone sobbed. An older man stood. Why? I thought about my uncle. My son. The cabin. Because power isn't meant to crush people, I said. It's meant to protect them. 3 months later, my porch was full. Kids running. Dogs barking. Someone grilling. My son was there. Laughing. Actually laughing. He'd gotten into college. Full ride. Wrote his essay about watching his dad stand up to corruption without becoming it. I sat there, beer in hand, watching neighbors who once feared me, now asking for tool advice. Rachel joined me. Smiled. You started something. I shrugged. I just stopped something. She nudged me. Same thing. Sometimes I think about Lorraine, about the crown she built and how fast it shattered. Sometimes I think about my uncle, about what he hid and why. And sometimes I think about how close I came to losing everything because someone wanted more than they deserved. If you've ever been bullied by people in power, if you've ever watched a community get twisted by fear, if you've ever wondered whether truth still wins, this story is for you. And I want to know, was I right? Should I have sold? Should I have walked away? Or was justice the only option? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share your own stories. Agree, disagree, argue, because these things only change when people talk about them. And if you've ever dealt with a Ben, a Lorraine, or a power-hungry neighbor, you're not alone, and you're not crazy, and you're not powerless. Not even close.